Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking a deep dive into the University of Manchester.
Ooh, excellent choice.
Yeah, and we know a lot of our listeners from Africa are thinking about heading over to the UK for uni.
Yeah, for sure.
So we figured we'd do a little 5-minute crash course. Just about all the need-to-know info, just for you guys. So
Manchester.
Manchester, it's a big deal. It's a prestigious institution.
Absolutely.
And they're really trying to attract some of the best and brightest from all over the world.
Oh, yeah. Especially in 2025.
Especially.
Because that's their bicentenary.
Oh, that's right. They're hitting 200 years.
They are.
Wow.
And they're celebrating by funding over 200 early career researchers.
Wow. So they're really investing in the future.
Big time.
And they're also really big on sustainability too, right?
Absolutely. I mean, they're ranked top 10 in the QS World University Sustainability Rankings.
Impressive.
It is.
So, okay, they're great for research, clearly, but how does that actually translate into programs for students?
Well, their website's got a really good tool called Course and Program Finder.
Oh.
And you can literally just browse A to Z for all their undergraduate and postgraduate courses.
That sounds pretty straightforward.
It is, yeah. And they're really leading the way in areas like cancer research, for example, and looking at global inequalities.
Oh, wow.
And energy solutions, like sustainable ones.
So really tackling some of the big issues.
Oh, yeah.
The really big stuff.
That's great, especially for students from Africa.
Exactly.
These are topics that are going to be hugely relevant.
Hugely relevant back home.
And all over the world.
For sure.
Okay. So let's say you're a student in Africa thinking about applying to Manchester. It can be pretty daunting, right?
Oh, totally, yeah.
To go to a different country, a whole new system. What kind of support does Manchester offer?
Well, they actually do a lot to make international students feel welcome.
Okay, sure.
And they're really committed to inclusivity and diversity. So they've got things like a Race Equality Charter Silver Award.
Disability Confident Leader status, their university is a sanctuary, and a gold awarded LGBTQ plus inclusive employer.
Wow. Okay, that was a lot of titles. Can you just break it down for us a little? What does that actually mean for students?
Well, basically, they're really trying to create a welcoming environment for all students, regardless of background, like that university of sanctuary status.
Yeah.
That means that they support refugees and asylum seekers as well.
That's pretty special.
Yeah, it is. And it's all about fostering a culture of understanding and empathy. So it's a space where everyone feels valued.
And celebrated.
Absolutely.
And I'm guessing that includes students from Africa.
Oh, for sure. They really value the unique experiences that students bring from all over the world.
That's great. Okay, so that sounds like they're building a really cool global community right there on campus.
Totally.
But let's be practical for a second. Let's talk about after graduation.
Okay.
What happens then? Manchester has quite a big alumni network, doesn't it?
The biggest.
The biggest.
Of any campus-based university in the UK. Yeah.
Okay, wow. So how does that help students?
It means that you're connected to a massive group of people who've all been through Manchester.
Right.
And that can be super valuable for getting internships, for getting jobs.
Yeah.
And just general mentorship, not just in the UK, but globally.
So it's like a global network.
Exactly.
That's fantastic, especially for those students who are thinking about, going back home after they graduate.
Yeah. Or maybe working internationally.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so we've talked about the application process a little bit, but there's a resource that we should mention that can help students with that whole journey.
Yeah, for sure. Immigration Bridging Academy.
Yes.
They're great.
Tell me about them.
Well, they offer a free consultation for prospective students.
Okay.
And basically they can help with everything from like assessing if Manchester is the right fit for you,
Right.
all the way through to the application process and the visa process and even relocation.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they're there every step of the way.
Pretty much.
That's amazing. Okay, so we've talked about research, we've talked about programs, we've talked about the support system, we've talked about life after graduation, but we're just scratching the surface.
Oh, we are, yeah.
Yes.
There's so much more to Manchester.
Okay, so tell me, what else is there? What else should our listeners know?
Well, I think one of the really cool things about Manchester is how they connect their academics to real-world issues.
Okay.
Like especially in areas that are really relevant to the African continent.
Okay, like what kind of areas? Tell me more.
Well, for instance, their research into global inequalities.
Yeah.
It's not just an academic exercise. It's about understanding, things like poverty and lack of access to healthcare and unequal distribution of resources.
Right. Big issues.
Huge issues,
Mm.
yeah. And a lot of African nations are dealing with these challenges.
Absolutely. So it's like they're equipping students with the knowledge to go out and actually make a difference,
Exactly.
to become change makers.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And it's not just theoretical, is it?
No, not at all. They have these global centers,
Right.
and they offer these distance and blended learning programs so students can actually start studying from home.
I-
And then potentially, come to Manchester later on for further specialization.
So they've already got that foundational knowledge.
Exactly. And they understand the context.
That's amazing. Okay, so we've talked about academics, but let's be real. Money matters.
Oh, yeah, it does.
For a lot of students in Africa, finances are a big concern.
For sure.
What can you tell us about scholarships and financial aid?
So I can't get into specifics here about, exact amounts
Yeah.
or eligibility criteria.
Yeah.
But what I can say is Manchester does offer a range of scholarships and financial aid packages, specifically for international students.
Okay, so it's worth looking into.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Don't let finances stop you from even considering it.
Exactly. Do your research
Huh.
because there might be more support available than you think.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
What about working part-time? Can international students do that in Manchester?
Yeah, they can.
Yeah.
They're allowed to work part-time, which can really help with finances.
Right.
But it's also great for getting experience in a UK work environment.
Right.
You could work in a cafe or a shop or even within the university itself, just getting those practical skills and immersing yourself in the culture.
Yeah, and meeting new people.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. Okay, so now let's fast forward. You've graduated. You loved Manchester. You want to stay in the UK.
Okay.
What are your options?
So there's the UK post-study work visa.
Right.
And obviously, immigration policies can be complex.
Yeah.
And they're subject to change.
Of course.
But generally speaking, the UK government is keen to attract talented graduates to contribute to their economy.
Right. Makes sense.
So this visa allows students to stay in the UK and look for work after they graduate.
So it's not a dead end once you're done with your studies.
No, not at all. It's a pathway to building a career.
In the UK. Okay. But the visa process can be overwhelming
Oh, it can be, yeah,
for anybody, let alone if you're from another country.
definitely.
So what would you suggest for students who are maybe feeling a bit intimidated by that?
Honestly, Immigration Bridging Academy again.
Okay.
They're fantastic.
Yeah.
Because they stay up to date on all the latest policies.
Right.
And they can literally walk you through the entire process, making sure we've got the right documentation and all the support you need.
That's amazing. Okay, so we've covered academics, finances, even what happens after graduation.
Right.
But let's not forget, university is not just about lectures and libraries.
Oh, no, definitely not.
It's about the experience.
Absolutely. It's
Think about-
about the whole experience.
So what's it like to be a student in Manchester?
Well, Manchester's got this incredible history. It's not just a place of learning. It's like a living tapestry of stories
You love
and discoveries and this legacy of, pushing boundaries.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
So you're not just learning in the classroom. You're learning from the city itself
Totally.
and from the people.
Yeah,
And they have over 400 student societies
they do.
covering everything you can think of, right?
Pretty much. Sport, music, politics, social activism, anything you're into, there's a society for it.
That's so cool. So
Right.
you can really find your people,
Yeah, for sure.
people who share your passions.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. And speaking of history, they have the John Rylands Library,
Oh, it's beautiful.
which is celebrating its 125th anniversary this year.
It is, yeah. It's stunning.
Wow. Imagine studying in a place like that.
I know, surrounded by all that history and beauty.
It's an experience you'd never forget.
No, you wouldn't.
Okay, we're almost at the end of our little deep dive here.
Mhm.
And I want to make sure that our listeners feel empowered, like they have all the information they need to make a decision about their future.
Absolutely.
So we've given you the facts, we've given you the resources, we've hopefully given you some inspiration. Now it's your turn to take that information and do something with it.
Yeah,
So don't be afraid to dream big. Ask questions. Explore your options.
exactly. And don't forget, you're not alone on this journey. There are people and organizations like Immigration Bridging Academy who are there to support you every step of the way.
Yes, they've got your back.
They do.
So take a deep breath, trust your instincts,
Mm-hmm.
and go for it.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up completely, I have one final thought-provoking question for you,
Okay, hit me.
for our listeners.
Yeah.
Given everything we've talked about, Manchester's focus on global issues, their research, their dedication to developing those future leaders, how do you see an African student, contributing to their field?
Well, I think
Poodle.
it's about bringing that unique perspective
Yeah,
to the table. Think about the research on sustainability or global inequalities. You can shape those solutions to resonate with the realities on the African continent.
absolutely. It's about being a bridge between cultures, right?
Yeah.
And continents.
And
And
Yeah.
using your education to make a difference.
exactly.
Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the University of Manchester. We've covered a lot,
We have.
from academics to research to scholarships to life after graduation, even that vibrant student life.
Yeah.
What did we miss?
Yeah.
Anything.
I think we hit all the main points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling inspired, don't let that feeling fade. Head over to their website and start exploring.
Yeah, definitely. And remember, Immigration Bridging Academy.
Yes, our friends over there.
They offer that free consultation.
They do.
So if you have any questions or you need a bit of guidance, they can help you out.
Exactly. They're there to help make the whole process, from applying
Yeah.
all the way to relocating, a little bit easier.
For sure.
So take a leap of faith, everybody. Embrace the challenge. Remember, your future is waiting.
It is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the University of Manchester. We're so excited for all of you, and we can't wait to see where your journey takes you. So think about it.
Yeah.
Manchester. They're so focused on global issues. They're doing all this cutting-edge research, and they really want to help students become leaders. So how do you see yourself as an African student at Manchester, contributing to your field and to the world?
It's about more than just learning, right? It's about taking part in the global conversation.
Exactly.
You bring your perspective to research, to discussions,
Yeah.
like with sustainability
Yeah.
or global inequalities. And you actually help to shape those solutions so they work for the African continent.
Yeah. It's about being that bridge
Exactly.
between cultures,
Yeah.
between continents,
Yeah.
and really using your education as a force for good.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the University of Manchester, especially for our listeners in Africa.
Yeah. We've talked about
That much. I know. Academics, research, scholarships. We even touched on life after graduation and that amazing student life. Anything else we should mention?
I think we covered it all.
Perfect.
Pretty comprehensive.
So if you're feeling inspired, don't
Yeah.
let that go. Go check out their website, see what programs they have.
Yeah. And remember, Immigration Bridging Academy, free consultation.
Free. They're fantastic.
They are. If you've got questions, they've got answers.
Exactly.
And they can help you with that whole process, from applying all the way to getting over there.
Yeah, they make it so much easier.
They do. So everyone, take a chance. Go for it. The future is yours for the taking. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the University of Manchester. We're excited to see what you all achieve.